A few days ago, my Canon M6 was destroyed by a literal tsunami. I got home and I dried it off, took it apart, just did everything I could to try and salvage it. And then after that, my very next thought was, how's the lens? I had the Sigma 16mm f1.4 on it at the time, so I wanted to test that lens to see if it was still all right. And the only other M-mount camera I had was the original Canon EOS M. So I grabbed the EOS M and just started walking around the house filming random footage. And right away, I remember thinking like, wow, this is the best the EOS M has ever looked. And that kind of got me to thinking of that old adage that, good glass is more important than a good camera body. Which leads us to this. The Canon EOS M was released back in 2012. Now, at the time, it cost around $800. Nowadays, you can find it used for about $150. The Sigma 16mm f1.4 was released back in 2017. Now, at that time, it cost around $400, and today still sells for about $400. I mean, even used, this lens goes for about $370, which kind of shows just how popular this lens really is. So I thought, let's put that old adage to the test. Let's take this cheap camera body and this good lens and walk around, take some pictures, film some video, and just let's see how we actually feel about this. It's funny, filming these video clips reminds me, I forgot just how bad the autofocus is on the original EOS M. The other thing that I forgot too is the dynamic range on this camera is also really, really bad. Like it's not handling this backlit stuff at all. I mean, those skies are just perfectly white. To expose for like the plants and leaves and stuff, that sky's just completely white. So what's the takeaway from all of this? Well, a good lens is important, but it's not quite as clear-cut as that. It's like, we'd like to believe that the truth is either black or white, but in reality, the truth lies somewhere in the middle in this kind of nebulous gray area. Having better lenses for your camera is incredibly important, but if your camera has certain problems, that lens isn't gonna fix those problems. Okay, like take me for instance. The M6 was ruined at the beach. I've still got the EOS M and I've got the Sigma 16, so I should just film with that, right? Well, no, because the EOS M has just horrendous autofocus. Like, not trying to be funny, but I mean, it's literally worse than even Panasonic autofocus. It's just bad. And like right now, I film alone. Like, this camera's way the hell across the parking lot. I can't manually focus that. I can't even reach the camera from here. So adding a good lens to the EOS M isn't going to fix the EOS M's bad autofocus. Another thing too is like, I need an articulating screen, This shot doesn't set itself up. It's not like I just set the camera on a tripod and everything's magically in frame. Like, no, I actually have to be able to see where I'm sitting and know, am I too high? Am I too low? Whatever. Can't do that with the EOS M because there's no articulating screen. The point being, you can add a $20,000 cinema lens to your camera, but it's not gonna fix your camera's problems. Like, that good lens isn't going to give the EOS M better autofocus. It's not gonna give the EOS M an articulating screen, in-body image stabilization, 4K, 1080p at 120 frames per second. No, the EOS M is going to be exactly what it was before you added that lens. You're just getting an upgrade in image quality. And so that's kind of where we fall in this. It's sort of a sliding scale, and for you, you need to decide which part of the scale are you on. You know, let's just use Canon M-mount cameras as an example. If you have an M50, but you're kind of curious in the M6 Mark II because it does actual 4K and not that ridiculous like cropped, no autofocus 4K from the M50. You, on the other hand, should go ahead and just focus on lenses. You know, the M6 is just a minor upgrade. You're actually better off getting good lenses for the camera you already have. Now, on the other hand, if you're all the way on the other side of this scale where you are filming with an original Canon EOS M, you go ahead and think about upgrading that camera. You know, a good lens isn't going to fix the camera's shortcomings. You know, think of it this way. I mean, if you're a filmmaker, but your camera only does 720p at 30 frames per second, that $20,000 cinema lens isn't gonna do anything for that camera. It's just gonna enhance how that 720p 30 frames per second footage looks in the first place. You know, on the other hand, if you have a Blackmagic 4K and you're looking at the 6K, I'd focus more on lenses in that case. Basically, to figure out where you are on this sliding scale, think of it this way. Is image quality the only thing holding you back? If it is, go for the lens. But if your camera has a ton of other flaws that are kind of bumming you out and making it hard to do what you need to do, go ahead and think about a camera itself. Anyway, I think that's all I've got for today, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again next time. Oh, by the way, I'm filming this on a Canon 70D with the 17 to 55mm f2.8. Cheap camera, good lens.